Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back. My name is Mariano, and today we're going to be doing the second part to the series of ranking the top players at their positions. Today we're doing shooting guards. Yesterday we did point guards. Today we're doing shooting guards, and yeah, I'm going to try and kind of do this as a series of going through each position, and then I'm going to do a couple different things later on once I'm done with that. But yeah, let's just get into it today. All right, for starters, it's going to be the same kind of ranking system as yesterday. You got your elite, superstar, all-star caliber, borderline all-star, solid, okay, and and I'm going to try and rank these in my opinion as well as I think I can do. So for starters, we got Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker is an elite shooting guard. I am not one of those people that are in love with Devin Booker, but I think that he is on that. Especially this year, he kind of made it onto that elite level of shooting guards. And he proved to us that he can get it done. He can close out big games, and he's always been a great scorer. So I think that kind of puts him in that elite category. Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is a solid point guard. He can get you buckets every once in a while. He's not going to wow you with anything in particular. He might score the ball a bunch sometimes, but I think he's solid. I think you like him there. Could be a really good backup, I think, maybe behind someone really good. But for the most part, he's a solid NBA player and a solid shooting guard at that. I honestly don't know. Like, this is maybe embarrassing. I don't know who the hell he is. But me saying that I don't know who the hell that is puts him in eh. He's obviously either he's a rookie and I just don't really know, or I just don't know anything about him. So I'm just going to leave it at that. My apologies for not knowing who that is. Maybe I need to do a little bit more research every once in a while. But I just didn't think I'd see him. Then you got Caris LeVert. I think Caris LeVert is also a solid NBA player. I think he's a solid shooting guard. I think he brings a lot of decent things to the table. Great scorer. Good scorer. Borderline great sometimes. I think his injuries have really been holding him back, and I'm hoping to see a healthier, better season this year from him. And I can only wait. Okay, this list has DeJounte Murray. I can see where people are saying DeJounte Murray is going to be a... I know I had him on my point guard list, but I guess this year he's probably going to play more of a shooting guard. And I think, again, he's going to be kind of a borderline all-star. Kind of like he was this year. He got in on, technicality, so we're not being able to actually make the game. I believe it was Draymond Green. Therefore, he's in that borderline all-star. I think he has the potential to be an all-star again. I'd have to wait and see how well he's going to pan out with Trae Young. I think they're going to pair each other pretty well, but I don't know how much of the numbers he's going to put up and what kind of team success we're going to see from him. So I think it's just kind of one of those things where I think he's always going to be kind of a borderline all-star, but I think he needs to take that next step, and I want to see if it's there with Trae Young or not. Then you got Malik Monk. He's okay. He has his nights where he's a good shooter. He has those nights where I'm like, wow, he's hitting every three, and that's going to help his team succeed and win. And then there's other nights when I forget he's on the court because he's not doing anything. So, he's very hot and cold to me. Donovan Mitchell is, to me, a superstar. Again, kind of with the Devin Booker situation. I'm not in love with him. He can score the ball great. Okay defender, but I just not in love with him like a lot of people are. I think that a lot of his success is due to his team, not necessarily him. I think having Rudy Gobert there, even though everybody was like, oh, he's a nuisance, no, I think it helps kind of elevate Donovan Mitchell's game and spreads the floor out for him a little bit. So, it allows him to get better looks. Then we got Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen, to me, is an okay player. He's someone that can potentially give you 14 to 17 points a night, but also play good defense. I don't like his attitude, and I don't like he plays kind of dirty, but he's also that kind of guy that you kind of want on your team doing those, plays or it annoys people. Kind of like a Draymond Green-esque, but not to that extent. So I think that's a good place to put him. I think he's okay. I don't mind him. I don't mind having him on that team. And also, I want to apologize for my, me being a little nasally. I'm still kind of under the weather. I was yesterday. I'm trying to get over it as we speak, but just bear with me. Next, we got Anthony Simons. he is someone who is also a borderline all-star. I think he really shined this past year with Damian Lillard being out, but I don't know that he can put up those numbers and be that successful next to or behind Damian Lillard. I'm assuming they're going to put him next to each other, Damian Lillard being the one and then him being the two, which is why he's on this list. But I just don't see I don't see him having as much success, which actually I'm kind of talking myself into it. He's solid. I need to see more from him. I think if he can prove to me this upcoming year that he can play next to Damian Lillard, still put up numbers, still perform, I think that it'll put me in that borderline all-star category possibly. But for now, he's a solid NBA player. Gary Trent Jr., solid. Love his defense, love his tenacity. Could score a little bit. I think he's a great fit for, honestly, any team could use a Gary Trent Jr. I think some of the teams that passed up on him really probably missed out on a good opportunity. But I like him there. He's solid. He's not a borderline all-star to me just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised seeing him in maybe a few years in that category. Lonnie Walker Jr., I need to see more out of him. He's okay. He's a high flyer, but there hasn't been anything that makes me want to put him in a tier above. Anthony Edwards. I think this year, he's going to be an all-star. I think that he has that it factor. He's going to score you the points. He's going to win you those big games. He's going to play his heart out. But he's also what a lot of people feel like he really isn't as a team player. He's always backing up his brothers. And in those interviews, he's always talking highly of who's around him. And I really respect that about him. I really like it. And, I think that this year is his year to break out. I think it's kind of an easy answer to say that, seeing how he played last year. But I think this is the year where he kind of takes that next step and becomes an all-star. Then you have Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell is it is what it is. He's okay. That's just not even okay. He's like I wouldn't like him on my team. I probably prefer Lonnie Walker over him, but it is what it is. I think he's solid. He's not, he's gonna continue to have a job, but I think if he wants to get anywhere higher for me, he's gonna have to take that next step and really establish himself as a good player. Desmond Bane Jr. Honestly, I can see him being in that kind of borderline all-star next year. I think that with his shooting, it's something that a lot of people love to have on their teams. He shoots it efficiently. He plays great defense, huge wingspan, and I think he's just a great player all around. And I think with that team, he has the opportunity to elevate and get to the next level to where you consider him kind of like a Klay Thompson on that Warriors team, where he's going to give you the good shots. He's going to make the tough buckets. He's going to shoot it efficiently. He's not going to put up those 25 points per game, but he might put up 19 to 21, play good defense, and make those tough shots. And I think that's what might make him into that borderline all-star, because his team success will really help him elevate to that status. Jalen Green. Solid for now. Good score, but that's all I see out of him. A lot of empty stats, in my opinion. I really don't like him. I know he had a tough start to this season, and he ended up really strong. But I'm not in love with him yet. He's good. He shows potential to be good. But as of right now, I'm not convinced. And maybe that's a harsh opinion, and that is my own opinion. But for now, and this could be a bad take, he's just solid. It is what it is. Herbert Jones, another solid NBA player. I value defense a lot. And I think he's one of those guys that is going to be on the all-defensive team for a very long time to come. I think he plays great defense as a rookie. He played phenomenally. And I think he could have deserved the nod. Like, that's how good of a defensive player he was. Maybe that's over-exaggerating, but he might have deserved the nod at the Defensive Player of the Year. Probably not, but I really liked him playing that defensive role for that team. And I think he's going to develop a better shot, and he's going to become better over time. Josh Giddey, I think he has potential to be a borderline all-star. Kind of similar to a Jalen Green role, having possible empty stats due to his team and nobody being able to kind of score the ball. I think a lot of what he does, though, a lot of people can't replicate. His size you can't replicate at that position, as well as his passing ability is pretty good for someone so young. I think it's only going to get better, and I think that might be the driving factor as to why he may take a next step eventually. I think he might be a borderline all-star this year, depending on how his team does. it's a little bit, I guess, wild to say. Maybe I'm thinking too far in the future, but I think he has potential to be a borderline all-star. I really like him. I think he's solid. I wish he could shoot it a little bit better, but maybe he's worked on that this off season, and maybe we'll be surprised next year. Maybe he comes with a different play style. Where do I want to put him? I think I want to put him at okay. I just haven't seen so much of him. He got drafted so high last year at the 4th spot. Maybe I expected too much, but I just feel like he didn't show up. He didn't, he just didn't give me anything to go off of. I think maybe I could put him down in an eh. But I think for now it's okay. I think it's too soon to tell. A lot of players need a lot of time to develop sometimes, and maybe he is one of those players. Jalen Suggs might reach a higher tier next year. I just have to wait and see. I just think that Magic team's kind of a mess. They don't really know what direction, but I'm hoping that them drafting Paolo gives him to a better direction, and maybe he'll take that next step this year and, become in that solid, maybe a borderline all-star tier. I would really like to see that out of him. James Harden, as a shooting guard, and I know he was in that point guard list, and I understand why they put him here, but I think he's an elite player. I think he's someone who's always going to give you 25 and possibly even 10. And I think this upcoming year, we're really going to see a different James Harden. He took the time to actually prepare his body and himself mentally and physically during the offseason a lot earlier than he normally would. And he's probably going to come into the season very healthy and in shape as compared to most other seasons where he comes out of shape and he plays kind of into shape. And so I think that's going to put him in that elite tier. I think he is an elite player, probably a top 10 to 15 player in the league on most nights. So I think that he deserves a spot in that elite tier. Paul George, again, another elite player. I think someone who's going to give you 28 points a night, play great defense, and make those plays for you. I think he's someone that any team would love to have on their team, or he's a player that any team would love to have on their squad. And so I think he's deserving of that elite category. Klay Thompson, it's sad to say, but he might be all-star caliber this year. It's sad to say that he's not a superstar or anything like that. I think we need to see him, kind of play himself into his old regular Klay. I think that injury really held him back, and his shooting splits went down a lot. But I think it's going to change this year. I think he's going to have more of a steady footing and start the year off hot like he always does and kind of carry that path on. Bradley Beal, in my opinion, is a superstar. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Actually, he is my favorite player in the league. I know he's not in an elite category. I would never fool myself into thinking that. But I think he is a superstar. I think he's someone who's always going to get you the points. His productivity's been going up, and his efficiency has been going down as of recent because of the team he's been on and the options he has, and he's been having to take much shots. But a lot of people forget that early in his career, he was still averaging 20, 21 points on 40% from three. And not a lot of people give him credit for that since he's been shooting a lot lower, kind of close to the league average, about 35%. So I think that's something that people are going to start seeing when he's got a little bit more help on his team. He doesn't have to take every shot. And he's one of those guys that he can defend decent, and he plays phenomenal on offense. Evan Fournier, okay, good size, okay player, decent defender. He's just solid, or he's just okay. He's not in that solid tier yet. I just don't love him, and I'm not in love with him, so yeah. KCP, now this might be a doozy, but I like KCP. I like him better than the guys below him. I think he's a great defender, one of those people that you want to have on your perimeter defending the ball. And he's going to be one of those guys, he may score 9 points, but those 3 threes he might make are really going to benefit you. I think he's a great 3-and-D player, one of the best probably in the league. That's kind of a hot take, but I think he's he's a really solid 3-and-D player. He's probably in the top 10-ish 3-and-D players, like strictly 3-and-D. Not someone who can shoot and can play really good defense. Someone who's strictly 3-and-D. I think he's one of those top guys for that. Seth Curry, solid as well. Someone who's going to shoot the ball extremely well, take a lot of shots, make a lot of tough shots, shoot it efficiently. I like him. I think he's a great shooter. Zach LaVine, to me, is kind of in that elite category finally. There was a lot of time, or a lot of years where I thought he was just putting up empty stats. He kind of proved me otherwise this year. You know, his team wasn't as successful as they were at the beginning of the season to end it out, but he still put up his numbers. He played great. He shot really efficiently, and I think that he is an elite shooting guard in this league. Spencer Dinwiddie, he's solid. I think his new role on the Mavericks is going to help him kind of flourish a little bit. Maybe he does take that next step in a borderline All-Star if that team sees some success. And I just saw that this is borderline. I'm going to change that to borderline. But I think he's solid for now. I think, like I said, he could take that next step. Marcus Smart, it's tough to put him in solid because he's such a great defender. But at the same time, he just doesn't bring a lot to offense, and he play makes okay, but you know, if you want him to kind of like you saw in the finals, him dribbling up the ball is kind of a disaster and could lead to a lot of turnovers, and he's just not someone that you want to rely on the offensive end. So, but his defense does really make up for it, hence why he won Defensive Player of the Year. He's a great defender, but at the same time, as much as I value defense, I want to just keep him as solid because I don't value his offense as much, and I don't think that he'll really ever be that borderline all-star kind of player, you know. Jaden Ivey. Now this is gonna be a projection. I like Jaden Ivey. I think he's gonna be a solid NBA player. I think he'll definitely be better than most of these guys under here. Oh my gosh, that is Buddy Hield. That's who that is. I am so sorry. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out. Buddy Hield to me has the potential to be a borderline all-star. I think he's a great player. One of the best shooters of all time. I know it's crazy to say that, but you know, a lot of people don't realize that he's one of the best shooters of all time, and he might even be one of those players, being as he has a lot of time left in the league, that he could potentially be in there in the top 5, top 3 of most threes ever made. He could even, you know, just because how the times are changing, could top Steph Curry's record. I doubt it because Steph Curry still has a long career ahead of him, but you never know. There's a lot of guys like him or Trae Young who still have a lot more years left in the tank and are shooting the ball and making 300 to 400 threes from the start of their career, and will continue that on for 10 to 15 years, and that's going to add up over time. So Buddy Hield could be in that borderline all-star tier. He may not be. I really always have high projections for Buddy Hield, and it kind of disappoints me. But I feel like this year could be his year. He's playing on a different team. He's kind of getting acclimated to that team. I know he played on it already a little bit, but I think this year takes that next step. Jaden Ivey, like I was saying, it's a projection, but I think he'll be a solid NBA player. I really like him. I think he's going to get a lot of minutes on that team, and he's going to get a lot of opportunity and good looks on that team. So it might be a year in which he performed really well. And lastly, we got Tyler Hero, 6th man of the year himself. I think he could be a borderline all-star. Again, I'm a Miami Heat fan, and I like Tyler Hero, but I'm not in love with him. I think he's a great scorer. But I just want to see a little bit more out of him on the defensive side, and I think overall he just kind of gives me that, like, there's that potential there, but can he keep up that potential, and can he raise it to the next level? So yeah, so that's gonna be my shooting guard tier list ranking. Yeah, I plan on doing more of these in the future and kind of do every position like I intend to. And I hope everybody enjoyed. I hope you liked my list. If you didn't, let me know. Either way, please like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, I love the interaction. So you guys take care and you guys have a great day.